My name's Toby Crick, I'm a partner at Bristows. Bristows is a law firm that specialises in technology contracts and technology disputes, and we act for a number of the leading cloud vendors, advising them on best practice in relation to their cloud contracting terms and also in relation to vendors and users negotiating cloud contracts. I thought the key issues that came up today were kind of what I expected. One was the need for technology people and legal people to work together closely to ensure that the contracts that are being signed up to or clicked up to, because often these things aren't signed, they're clicked through, reflect practical realities of what the client needs, and also have enough safety mechanisms that are workable rather than just stuff lawyers have written down. It's actually practical, workable safety mechanisms about how you exit and about how you ensure good performance. So that was sort of the first area, the importance of technology and legal working together. And then the other main area was the clear understanding in the audience that the nature of cloud computing is that it is hard to negotiate in the way you might a traditional sourcing deal, because you are buying a standard service. And whilst there was discussion around, is it just like any other utility, I think the view was no, it's not like any other utility. Nevertheless, it was noted that you're getting scalability and low cost because you're signing up to a standard offering. And then the sort of third theme, I guess, was the other realisation across the market that accepting standard terms written in California or England that disclaim all sorts of liability, that avoid any responsibility, you know, from a vendor's point of view, that's great, it minimises their risk, but actually the nature of doing business in Europe is that there's a lot of obligations imposed on suppliers by law that you can't contract out of, and therefore, you know, there's a noticeable shift towards localising, to use a horrible jargon word, you know, suppliers sort of standard American terms, localising them so they apply in England or France or Germany and are enforceable, because actually it exposes suppliers as well as customers if you sign contracts that aren't enforceable. I was asked to speak about negotiating contracts in the cloud. I think my first observation was really the point of them is you don't really get to negotiate them, because the nature of them is it's a one-size-fits-all click-through service, and therefore it's hard to negotiate, but you need to be aware of the risks. And so what I talked about was some best practice pointers to bear in mind when it comes to service levels, and how often service level agreements in cloud contracts are actually, you know, statements that there aren't any service levels and you get what you're given and that's it, and how that may well be acceptable if you can rely and trust that vendor, but you need to do due diligence if you're going to sign up to things that say the vendor may not provide you a service. You need to do due diligence so you have confidence that it will, and you also need to ensure that you can exit the arrangement relatively painlessly. If you can't exit painlessly, you need to look for better contractual protection, and the more you look for better contractual protection, the further away you get from the economics that drive cloud, which is one size fits all, and managing that tension really is what I was discussing today, together with some sort of experiences from on the ground, negotiating them or not negotiating them, but advising on the risks inherent in not negotiating them. So yeah, that sort of thing. And it was very interactive as well, which was useful, with lots of people sort of discussing their experiences as technologists, as users, as commercial people, or indeed as lawyers. I think the Cloud Circle is quite an interesting one. Often these events is just a bunch of people selling, and it is still more than that, the Cloud Circle. There are people sharing ideas.